Stand by.
Hello, it is Friday, April 19th. Welcome to the GVD Nightly News, a roundup of the biggest developments making news on St. Lucia. I am Eldridge Charles, standing in for Michaela Charles Noel. Good evening to you watching on Flow Channel 115, the GVD YouTube channel, the GVD TV Facebook page, and to those of you joining us on Boom 89.9 FM. Thank you for joining us. We begin with news that the island has recorded its 31st homicide for the year. Police have yet to identify the victim of the island's latest homicide, who was found in Foasho. On Thursday, April 18th, 2024, about 12:30 p.m., the Royal St. Lucia Police Force commenced investigations into a homicide at Foasho Castries. One male victim was discovered lying motionless on the ground with apparent wounds to the head. The investigation progressed and a pathologist who was summoned to the scene declared the victim deceased. This victim has not yet been formally identified. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force is pleading with anyone with information regarding this crime to contact the Criminal Investigations Department at the number 456-3770 or the Major Crimes Unit at the number 456-3754. Alternatively, information can be provided anonymously by dialing 555 or by utilizing the RSLPF Crime Hotline application, which is available on Google Play Store. Following his summons to appear before the European Commission and the European Parliament to discuss proposed changes to the island's Schengen visa-free access privileges, St. Lucia's Prime Minister, Honorable Philip J. Pierre, is once again being summoned, this time by the US-based attorneys of MSR Media Incorporated. Pierre and Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire have been asked to meet with MSR's legal team within the next 10 days to examine evidence of corruption, money laundering, and other illicit practices within the CIP program. We hear more in this report. In a press statement released on Thursday, April 18, 2024, MSR Media Inc. announced that a 2-year-long investigation into the CIP programs throughout the region has uncovered evidence of corruption, money laundering, and the unlawful underselling of CIP units. The media company has invited Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre and Minister for Investment Dr. Ernest Hilaire to examine the evidence as part of MSR's campaign against corruption within the CIP. MSR Media Inc. is a movie production company which has invested millions in the CIP program in St. Kitts and Nevis. Recently, MSR was named an approved public benefactor in the Twin Island nation. In November 2023, MSR announced legal proceedings against a number of CIP players, including the former Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the former head of the CIP unit, and Caribbean Galaxy Real Estate for allegedly underselling stakes in that country's CIP at prices well below the legally mandated rates. MSR Media claims to have been defrauded by such activities and have pledged to file suit in U.S. federal court. The company claims to have obtained financial data from the U.S. and international financial systems, including evidence of transactions benefiting government officials related to the CIP. These findings will be presented to the European Commission next week by the MSR legal team. One of the companies named in the suit, Caribbean Galaxy Real Estate, is currently engaged in selling shares in St. Lucia's CIP program. The company is offering investment opportunities in its Canals Resort project and the chance at St. Lucian citizenship at a price of US $300,000. It remains to be seen whether Prime Minister Pierre and his deputy Dr. Hilaire will attend the meeting, which has been mandated to take place within the next 10 days. The UWP has urged Prime Minister Pierre to accept the invitation extended to him by MSR Media. The movie production company has invited the Prime Minister to a meeting to review evidence of corruption by what they describe as bad actors in the CIP industry. In a press release dated April 19, 2024, the United Workers' Party urged Prime Minister Pierre to attend the meeting in light of revelations made by former St. Kitts and Nevis Tourism Minister Dwyer Astafan. Astafan revealed several instances where what he describes as atrocities were committed against the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis through that country's Citizenship by Investment program and its administrators.
And not gathering as much as they should have. For you, the people, they watched over the program as developers and others engage in selling citizenships below the minimum set by law in the parliament by the same governments. Our leaders watched, and we saw no signs in them of anger or outrage, no sign of intention to stop the bleeding and the illegalities, to stop the greed of the few and the deprivation of the many. The leaders watched as developers undersold and broke the law. They sat in power and presided over the breaking of the law.
He also made mention of consequences suffered by the people of the Twin Island nation because of the government's failure to take action.
Remember the Canadians stopping our visa waiver in 2014 and the U.S. Treasury Department advisory in the same 2014? Who caused these things? And how come these things are not solved? The visa waiver has not been fixed. The Treasury Department advisory is still in place, going on 10 years now. And were those acts, those atrocities in 2014 and the U.S. Treasury Department advisory in the same 2014? Who caused these things? And how come these things are not solved? The visa waiver has not been fixed. The Treasury Department advisory is still in place, going on 10 years now. And were those acts, those atrocities, part of the race to the bottom for us? Absolutely. What about Hush Puppy in 2019? And all of those other fake marriage?
The opposition believes that Astefan's revelations, coupled with the offer by MSR to provide direct access to the evidence they claim to possess, has amplified the allegations of corruption and should not be taken lightly. The UWP has advised the government to avail themselves of the opportunity to examine the evidence and has reiterated calls for Prime Minister Pierre to sign the Memorandum of Agreement in an effort to protect the integrity of St. Lucia's CIP program. You are watching the GVD News. Still to come, President of the Police Welfare Association,
The chicken you feed your family, we make sure it's healthy. Caribbean quality meats, Caribbean quality meats. Hormone free, all natural, antibiotic free. Chicken so tasty. Caribbean quality meats, Caribbean quality meats. Trusted quality, yeah, cause the chickens grow right here. 100% all Lucian, right price, easy decision.
Caribbean Quality Meats offers premium quality at affordable prices and produced right here in St. Lucia. Visit social media at Caribbean Quality Meats for more info. Available at all leading supermarkets.
Welcome back. On Wednesday's episode of Newsmaker Live with Timothy Polio, Cameron Law, the president of the Police Welfare Association, stated that police officers are still sharing bulletproof vests. Law acknowledged that the government's commitment to providing equipment to the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, yet he stated that these allocations only served to replace damaged implements. Chloe Camille tells us more.
Cameron Law, president of the Police Welfare Association, revealed that officers are sharing bulletproof vests on Monday's episode of Newsmaker Live, describing the situation as unacceptable. Law emphasized the need for officers to receive personal protective equipment, given that they are now at greater risk. Last year, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force received new vehicles, among them 5 new motorcycles. The RSLPF also commenced the training of a number of new recruits to bolster crime-fighting efforts. Law welcomed the government's provisions of equipment, but revealed that they were simply replacements for demolished tools.
In this day, there is no excuse, absolutely no excuse, with what we're facing. The dedication of the police officers going out there to do what they're supposed to do. There's no excuse for a police officer not being well equipped, to go out there and do that job. What I often say, what we need to see now is when you see a police officer in Vieux-Fort, when you see a police officer in Soufrière, Castries, Grosley, this police officer you see one police officer. You cannot now see one police officer properly clad with all his gear, and by the time you move to the next community, a police officer is just bare uniform. That is unacceptable.
Moreover, Law praised the police officers of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force for continuing to risk their lives in the execution of their duties. He also unveiled plans to improve the work environment of his membership and bolster job security.
The Welfare Association this year is going to look at 3 things. The well-being of police officers in terms of their health, the quality of life of a police officer, and of course we have the special police constables who are facing major issues, and we need to tackle this situation head on this time.
For the GVD TV News, this is Chloe Camille reporting.
St. Lucia is benefiting from a USAID program aimed at addressing the high rates of crime and violence in the eastern and southern Caribbean region. Chris Satney reports on a recently conducted orientation exercise for the initiative being dubbed locally as the Wiry Ignite Project.
The Eastern and Southern Caribbean region is said to be grappling with alarming rates of crime and violence, particularly among its young population. According to recent statistics, the majority of countries with the highest homicide rates worldwide per capita are located in Latin America and the Caribbean. In response to this critical issue, the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has launched the Eastern and Southern Caribbean Youth Resilience, Inclusion and Empowerment, or WIRE program, seeking to bridge the gap in order to provide access to employment for disadvantaged youth as a means of combating crime and violence at the community level. Youth advisor with the USAID WIRE project, Catherine Atkinson, says research shows that in every jurisdiction there is a section of the community that is underserved, resulting in a huge number of risk factors that elevate social issues requiring urgent attention.
And so the programming that we're designing right now is really specifically looking at reducing those risk factors and creating a kind of support network around the youth so that they have the best possible chance of negotiating those risks, mitigating the impact of the risks, and being, and leveraging their own assets, their own abilities to be able to thrive in the world.
According to the initiative's project coordinator Doreen Gustav, St. Lucia has adopted the approach used by other participating countries to refer to the program locally as the WIRE Ignite project, aimed mainly at sparking interest and desire, as well as preparing young participants to enter the workforce through a comprehensive employment and business skills program.
For the 6 weeks, they will do the soft skills. Thereafter, they will have an opportunity to decide, do I want to start a business? Is that my strength? So we take them through that business skills where we engage the BNTF to take them through that pathway where they'll have a boot camp for a 6-day boot camp that will train them into small business, help them put a business plan together and everything that entails starting off a small business.
The Ignite Learning Business by Doing Business activity is a flexible format, high engagement, experiential learning activity that will see the training of some 50 young people between the ages of 16 and 25 years from select communities in Ancillary and Grosley through a strategic partnership with the Ministry of Education's National Enrichment and Learning Unit.
And we want to make sure that they are equipped so they have that capacity to be individuals who are self-employed, and if not self-employed, but have that foundation to move forward in terms of gaining a further education in terms of a skill, for example, cake making and decorating, electrical installation or plumbing that the NELU offers.
By fostering collaboration and innovation, WIRI aims to create lasting change in the region and to contribute to a safer and more prosperous future for its youth. From the Communications Unit of the Department of Education, Innovation and Vocational Training, I am Chris Satney reporting.
Finally from us tonight, ahead of the 4th International Small Island Developing Conference, ahead of the 4th Annual International Small Island Developing Conference, Integrated Health Outreach based in Antigua and Barbuda has begun mobilizing civil society organizations to lend their support to climate change issues affecting everyday life. We hear more in this report. This conference will be held in May 2024 in Antigua and Barbuda under the theme Charting the Course Towards Resilient Prosperity. The conference will deal with the devastating effects of climate change on the lives and livelihoods of small island developing states like St. Lucia. Usually, dialogue surrounding climate action has been reserved for heads of government, but in this instance, the conversation will include civil society organizations. The aim is to encourage greater participation and increase awareness among Caribbean populations. To this end, Integrated Health Outreach, an NGO out of Antigua and Barbuda, has commenced mobilization of various CSOs throughout the region. According to IHO's representative in St. Lucia, Brittany MacDonald, countries within the region share common goals with regards to climate change and are similarly impacted.
When you look at the experiences that we have, because we are dependent on our marine environment for tourism, economic sustainability, for our education system and our access to technology, all of these things are interconnected as well to gender issues and the fact that women disproportionately experience the impacts as well from climate change, because within most Caribbean households, women are considered the caregivers, and that's the same as well culturally across other SIDS regions.
The SIDS conference takes place every 10 years in support of Sustainable Development Goals 14, 16, and 13, which deal with marine conservation, peace, justice, and climate action, respectively. McDonald says there is no time like the present to begin the movement towards strengthening climate resilience.
So this is an opportunity where the various member states are having discussions about what is the plan for SIDS moving forward across the next 10 years, because this conference only happens every 10 years. But the urgent need is right now. We're experiencing coral bleaching in our oceans. We're experiencing high temperatures. We're also experiencing rising sea levels. We experience sargassum. That one has its own conundrum to it as well. And so we experience it every day and its impacts. And so the need is urgent to address it.
IHO has invited all interested CSOs to participate in next month's conference. For the GVD TV News, I am Eldris Charles. We've come to the end of the GVD TV News. Join us at 10 a.m. for another news update. On behalf of the entire team, I am Eldris Charles, standing in for Michaela Charles Noel. Goodbye for now.